guys? It's Undertaker 1568 here, and I'm coming at you with something a little bit different than we've done in the past. Something I've decided I want to try as a new series. Hopefully you guys will like it. It's a kind of a let's talk show kind of a thing where we're going to kind of just talk about every Friday the things that are going on in the community, the different things that are going on with YouTube. We'll talk about different YouTubers. We'll talk about the drama, things like that. And hopefully you guys will like it. This week, for the very first episode, I thought we would talk about probably one of the more taxing things that are going on with YouTube right now, and that's the ADpocalypse. Just real quickly, I want to let you know I am working on doing face cam stuff, so that will change here in the future. But right now, you guys get to see just a little bit of game footage of Second Son. So just stick with it, guys, and I hope I can just, help just talk with you guys, show you guys a little bit what's going on with YouTube right now, and see what's going on. Basically, we're going to talk about how the ADpocalypse started. It started back in February, but it didn't start to become a real problem until about March. Basically, what it was is there were companies who were placing their ads on YouTube videos, and there were channels that probably shouldn't have been monetized YouTube shouldn't have allowed to monetize in the first place. There were stuff that were going on, there were ads being shown on basically terrorist YouTube channels that the companies felt were terroristic in some features, sexual and graphic and things like that. And these companies, just to name some of the bigger ones, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Colgate, things like them, they pulled their ads from YouTube, and in the proceeding basically dropped the ad revenue for YouTubers who were relying on it. And it became this big thing, and YouTube they came out and talked about how it wasn't that big of a thing. And you'll see, I'm going to show a thing up on I'll flash a little thing on the video here. It's from the CEO of YouTube, and basically she says that some creators might get less money from Google, at least temporarily, as the company adds new controls for advertisers in the wake of the ad controversy that erupted 2 weeks ago. Now, this was back in March when this was posted. And she goes, a number of big name advertisers suspended ads on YouTubers last week and the week before after discovering their ads were making money for videos containing hate speech and supporting terrorism. Google has responded by promising greater transparency and saying it will be more aggressive in ensuring brand safety for ad placements. Well, in doing it, they did YouTube did take care of that, but what they also did was start dealing damage to other creators. And you'll see in this other post that I found online, and it's talking about commentary channels, including Philip DeFranco, H3H3, and PewDiePie, and how they had taken a really big hit. And they were very vocal about the loss of revenues. And in the wake of that boycott that the ad companies put out. And today, the earnings have been improving, but they're not great. They're only fair. They've slightly improved today. And, a lot of the companies, they have come back to YouTube now. But there are still those who they've moved away from YouTube now. You take Philip DeFranco, for instance, as you'll see in the post. He moved farther away from his reliance on the YouTube ads. And he launched a crowdfunded news network. After he said that the ad earnings on his channel fell 80% on the outset of the boycott. And then they leveled out to an ominous 30% decrease by mid-April. That is a huge amount for someone who's relying on those ad revenues. And you'll see in this next post that I'm going to flash on the screen, as it talks about how there are, then there's the other creators who saw revenue fall. You have the gun review guys from like the Military Arms Channel and Progressive News Network's David Pakman. Pakman? I don't know. And they both said that they had an earnings drop of an astonishing 99% on the heels of the scandal. Now, Pakman's channel has since regained 33% of the total loss, but 33%? It dropped 99%. It only raised 33%. That's, plain and simple, that's bullshit. In a sense. And then you have other channels within the pro wrestling community, including Beyond Wrestling. They're also taking serious hits, and a lot of channels now have had to set up Patreons, including the Military Arms and Pakman. They've set up Patreon pages in order to keep their engines running, keep their channels going, so they can continue to put out stuff for you guys. And as you'll see, we go back to H3H3. He was very outspoken about it, and I'm going to flash on. This is a post from April 25th that H3H3 put out on Twitter, showing the new options for advertisers. That basically resulting in those who can't or have no ads. And you'll see this next post from H3H3 is, he's basically calling out YouTube there and talking about how they're screwing us. They're not just doing it to the big YouTubers, the littler YouTubers that only have, anywhere from maybe, 10,000 viewers to subscribers, to those who have only 100,000. They're really getting screwed. They came in, they started getting, their views. People were subscribing them. They were starting to earn the money that they wanted, so they could start doing this full time like they've always wanted. And now there's a lot of people who had to stop because of this. One of the more outspoken YouTubers, and he's very well known, is Keemstar from Drama Alert. And on top of it, he's also been very outspoken on Twitter. These are some of his posts from back in March, and I'm going to flash them on the screen, of him reporting that he's getting reports of some of those smaller YouTubers with less than 25,000, like I said, or less, that were getting no ads placed on their channels at all. And that's a huge thing. And I'm going to just post several of the different posts that we have to kind of just show you guys how bad it really is of the YouTubers who were outspoken about it. How they were getting more views but less revenue. And Keemstar was one of those people who spoke out about it, and he continued to speak out about it. And in the wake of the whole thing, and I will post a description to the page that I found this on, to the web page, and I'll post down in the description the link to it, of how basically YouTube, and this was just recently, and it wasn't that long ago, how YouTube changed the way you can now get monetized and be able to get paid for the ads that are shown on your videos. And it was their way of screwing the little guy. Is they came out and announced a change and said how you won't be able to turn on monetization, you won't be able to get paid for the ads run on your videos until you've hit 10,000 lifetime views on your channel. Now, for someone that's small like me, who's just barely getting into the 3, 4, 500 views total on their channel, that kind of screwed us little guys who weren't even there. We were getting, anywhere from 5 to 10, maybe even 20 views a day, but we were still getting paid for those ads being run on our videos, and it really took a hit to a lot of us. There's a lot of us who had to stop doing it full time like we were, and we had to take a step back. We had to go and get jobs. We had to find other ways. We had to do Patreon. And, there are those YouTubers who are very outspoken about Patreon. And no one take this the wrong way, but, Keemstar is one of those. He's very outspoken against Patreon. And it's just one of those things. He is entitled to his right. And I'm not saying he is wrong. But what I'm saying is there are those who they were already making way less than Drama Alert was making from their ads. And now, because of this whole adpocalypse, it's become such a big thing now that we had no choice but to create Patreons. There's those YouTubers out there that had Patreon way before the adpocalypse. But then there's those who have Patreon because they want to survive. And then there are those who have created Patreon just for the extra money. And I'm not going to call out any names. This is going to go in part of a different video for later on. And it will be coming. But, I'm not going to say any names. But there's those e-girls who are basically using Patreon to get the 12 and 15-year-old boys take mommy and daddy's credit card, go and pay, anywhere from $5 to $100 on the Patreon to get money, and then they get the nude pictures. But like I said, I am going to go into a different video. We're going to talk about more in the future. I haven't decided if I'm going to make it a Patreon video or not, or what, but we will get into that. But to get back on track, there are those who needed it to survive. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's, Keemstar said it a dozen times, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there in YouTube. You have to be the better channel to survive. Well, to be the better channel, you kind of need the ad we need the ad revenue so we could become a better channel. And then when the ads fell. They fell, and there are those who left YouTube because of it. They gave up. They fell so hard they didn't see a point in continuing on. And so now we're left. They left, and there are those of us who stayed and tried to pick up the pieces, but it's not going anywhere. And YouTube is at fault for it. And I have the feeling I'm probably going to get this video is probably going to get demonetized anyways. I'm probably going to receive crap for it. I'm probably going to receive dislikes for it. But it's something that needs to be talked about, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. YouTube screwed not just the little guy, but they screwed the big guy. They screwed us all together. And it sucks royally. But we can come back from it. YouTube is not about creating content just for the heck of it. It's about creating the content that you want to create, but the people want to see. It's why people come to YouTube to view the videos. There's those who stayed with YouTube, but they moved on to different things. They no longer are doing what they were doing before. There are the channels out there, the ASMR channels. And that, like I said, that'll be another video in the future that I'll talk about. But just to kind of go into it, I've seen a lot of ASMR in research for my video that's coming up. But there are those channels who they're actually putting a lot of time and money into their videos. And I mean, you can see it. They love it. Just to kind of mention in a couple, Dr. T ASMR, I believe it is. I don't have the paper in front of me, but he works his butt off and just recently had to post a video about how he's thinking of doing Patreon to continue making the videos so he can survive because his views have dropped. And that's sad because you can see he's putting a lot of time and money into his videos. And then you have several ASMR artists out there, not going to say any names, but there are a lot of females out there who are doing a lot of time and money into making the videos. But then there are those out there who are they're just basically showing their cleavage. They're dressing up in lingerie, all this stuff to get their views in, and they're getting them, and they're taking them away from people who are actually working their hardest for them. You have the ones who are working their time, the ASMR artists, I guess that's what they're called, ASMR artists. They're working their butts off to produce these good videos, great content for their viewers, and they're getting demonetized left and right. And then you have the ones who are dressing up in lingerie. They're doing all this sexy stuff, very sexual, graphic, provocative, all this stuff, but I haven't seen them really post anything about being demonetized. And so I think there's a big problem here. And I mean, I may be wrong, I'm still doing research into it, and so I'm not going to say this is, that's the problem with the thing, but I think YouTube is really kind of picking and choosing who they're giving their money to, who they're running the ads with, and stuff like that. I mean, they're really kind of controlling what's going on, and I think it's time that it needs to be brought up. I mean, there's still those who are still speaking about it, but they're not speaking about it anymore, and it's a big problem that still needs to be brought up. It was just recently, Keemstar had just posted about how there was, how YouTube was forcefully restricting people to the restricted mode so they couldn't see certain videos. And there's definitely a problem there where you can tell YouTube is trying to push people out the door. And there's definitely a problem there, and I think it's a thing where we need to just come together. It's a time to come together, and we need to speak out about it and let YouTube know that we're not going to take it sitting down. I mean, I'm seeing more and more people going over to Twitch now because that's where they're not having any problems. Yes, Twitch does have a more stricter guidelines for things that are going on. But, people are making their money. And YouTube doesn't seem to really care that people are leaving. They don't think it's going to impact them if all of these content creators leave, because they don't think it will happen. But I fully believe that if things continue on the path that they're going, more and more people are going to move over to Twitch. I mean, it's become a thing. There are those who have been with Twitch since the beginning, and they just post videos to YouTube. So they didn't really see a big problem with it. But then there are those who they stream on YouTube just really kind of for the fun of it and the extra revenue. But their main source of income came from YouTube, and a lot of them have moved over to Twitch really kind of full time now. And I think Twitch is coming up. Twitch has realized that. Twitch is really kind of making it easier. They're upgrading a lot more stuff to kind of just put it out there that, hey, come on over to us. We'll welcome you. And so it's just one of those things where I think we need to take a step back and decide if this is something we really want, if this is something that we really want to continue on. If it's not, okay. But I think this is something we should really start looking into more. And we should start backing more creators and helping them and showing YouTube we're not going to take this sitting down. This is something that I think we need to focus more on and kind of fight back against YouTube. I mean, there are those who are doing it, but they're not getting very far because they don't really have the support. And I think this is one of those things where we need to take a step back and go, we need to get into it. That's it for today, guys. I plan on making these videos more and more longer in the future. But right now, it was the first thing is kind of a trial thing, seeing what I can do to improve in the future. If you guys liked it, make sure you slap that like button, guys. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more of these great videos. Every Friday, we're going to have another one of these, so stick together. Next week, we're going to be talking about e-girls and their effect on the community. But, guys, if you guys like it, like I said, slap that like button, guys. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And ring the bell. And turn on those notifications, guys. Make sure you leave a comment down below of what you'd like to see me talk about in next week's video. What e-girls, YouTubers you'd like me to talk about. Things that are going on. What you want to see in that next video. Guys, I love you a long time. And I will see you all next time.